What if everything you've been told about why you act, the core of what drives you, is dead wrong? What if it's not about escaping pain or chasing comfort, but something far more raw? More dangerous? Clark Hull's theory painted us like machines: input discomfort, output action. Hungry? Eat. Cold? Find warmth. But that's not the whole story. You ever wonder why some people run toward the fire instead of away from it? Why we climb mountains, start businesses, dive into wars not to avoid discomfort, but to invite it? Here's the twist. Nietzsche saw through this. He didn't buy the comfort-first narrative. In Beyond Good and Evil, he wrote, "Man does not strive for pleasure, only the Englishman does that." Translation: you're not here just to feel good. You're here to grow, to struggle, to dominate even. It's the will to power, not the will to chill. Look at your own life. Ever notice how the most alive you feel isn't when you're on the couch, but when you're pushing yourself to the edge? When you're fighting for something? That's not drive reduction, that's drive expansion. And yeah, it sounds insane. But maybe the truth is, you need the fight more than you need the peace. You've been sold a lie. Comfort isn't the goal, it's the trap. And the sooner you wake up to that, the sooner you start playing the real game. Because next, we're talking about how that comfort zone of yours, yeah, it's not a sanctuary, it's a cage. Your comfort zone is a cage. They told you comfort is the goal. A steady job, a nice couch, a quiet life. No chaos, no surprises, just calm, predictable stability. But here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud. Comfort is not freedom. It's a well-decorated trap. A velvet prison that feels good enough to stop you from noticing you're not actually living. You're just coasting. Think about it. Society hands you a script. Play it safe, follow the rules, reduce your stress, avoid the hard stuff. Hull's drive reduction theory fits neatly into that mold. Hungry? Eat. Tired? Sleep. Anxious? Meditate it away. The whole system is built on keeping you neutral, numb even. But where's the growth in that? Where's the transformation? You've been taught to fear the unknown, to treat risk like the enemy, but here's the paradox. What looks like safety is often just stagnation wearing a smile. Muscles don't grow in comfort, they tear and rebuild under pressure. Your mind? Same thing. It doesn't evolve while scrolling your phone or binging Netflix. It evolves when you lean into discomfort. When you choose the hard path, not because you have to, but because you know that's where the next version of you is hiding. You don't need more comfort. You need friction, resistance, the kind of pressure that reveals what you're actually made of. So, if comfort is the cage, what's outside it? Stick around, because next, we're stepping into the wild, where CEOs, rebels, and outliers rewrite the rules, using the same drives you were told to silence. From rats in mazes to CEOs, it started with rats, literal rats, in mazes. Clark Hull watched them scurry toward food, pulled forward by hunger, pushed by discomfort. He thought, this is it. This is how all behavior works. Solve the need, reduce the drive, restore balance. Simple, right? But here's the wild part. That same logic, it didn't stop in the lab. It leaked into everything. How we work, shop, scroll, and even chase success. Think about hustle culture. We're told to grind harder, wake up earlier, never be satisfied. That's not balance, that's constant drive activation. We don't reduce discomfort. We create new discomforts just to stay moving. That unease, that voice saying not enough even after a win, that's the system, baby. Addiction works the same way, not just to drugs, but to dopamine. Likes, notifications, the ping of validation. Modern tech giants have basically built digital rat mazes designed to keep you chasing pellets of reward you don't even need, but can't stop wanting. And marketing? Oh, they love Hull. They manufacture discomfort. You're not thin enough, rich enough, cool enough. Then swoop in with the fix. A product, a course, a subscription. You're not making choices. You're reacting to artificial drive someone strategically planted in your psyche. Hull may have been studying rats, but the maze, That's ours now. And whether you're running through it or designing it, depends on whether you see the game for what it is. So here's the big question: if we're not just reducing drives, what are we really doing? Time to bring in the philosopher who saw the truth behind the chase. Nietzsche's up next, and he's not pulling punches. Nietzsche knew what Hull forgot. Clark Hull saw behavior as a response, a reaction to lack, to discomfort, a closed loop of need and relief. But Nietzsche didn't buy that for a second. He believed we're not just reacting, we're becoming. We don't just want less pain. We want more power, more influence, more control, more life. That's the will to power, and it changes everything. You're not out here just trying to stay fed, warm, or safe. You're trying to matter. You push yourself at the gym not just to look good, but to feel strong. You chase promotions not because you love meetings, but because you want respect. You start businesses, post online, build brands, not to reduce a drive, but to leave a mark. Nietzsche wrote in The Gay Science that life itself is essentially appropriation, injury, overpowering of what is alien and weaker. Harsh? Yeah, but also honest. We don't just want balance, we want to expand, to shape the world in our image. Even our so-called selflessness, volunteering, parenting, creating, it's all infused with the will to feel powerful, to assert meaning. Hull's theory explains the rat, but Nietzsche, he explains the lion. So ask yourself, when you go after something, is it really just about scratching an itch? Or is it about becoming someone, Mike? Because once you realize your drives aren't problems to be solved, but tools to be wielded, everything changes. And in the next section, we'll turn the mirror back on you. Time to break down why some of your biggest struggles might actually be hidden power plays. Pleasure seeking is a slave's game. Let's get uncomfortable for a second. Because Nietzsche had a word for people who live only to avoid discomfort and chase pleasure. He called it slave morality. The mindset of those who've been conditioned to obey, not to lead. See, Hull's theory? It fits perfectly into that mold. Reduce the drive, ease the tension, seek the quick fix. Sounds a lot like how we're trained to live, right? Hungry, eat, lonely, swipe, bored, scroll. You're not choosing your life. You're responding to urges like a lab animal pressing a lever for sugar pellets. Now contrast that with master morality, Nietzsche's idea of the strong-willed, self-creating individual. Someone who doesn't just react to life, but shapes it. They don't ask, what will make me feel better right now? They ask, what makes me stronger? Not comfort, but conquest. Not relief, but growth. Be honest with yourself. When's the last time you did something hard just because it was worth doing, not because it promised immediate pleasure? When's the last time you said no to a dopamine hit, and yes to discipline? If you're always chasing relief, chasing less pain, you're playing someone else's game. A game built to keep you compliant, numb, and distracted. A game for slaves, not creators. So here's the real question. Are you the rat or the maze builder? Coming up next, we'll get practical. Because it's one thing to break free from the pleasure trap. But how do you live like a master in a world full of levers and pellets? Let's talk strategy. How the powerful manipulate your cravings. You think you're making choices, but most days, you're just reacting to cravings that weren't even yours to begin with. Let's break it down. Drive theory says behavior comes from unmet needs, right? Hunger, thirst, loneliness, anxiety. So here's the play. If someone creates a sense of lack in you, they control what you chase. That's how marketing works. You're not just buying shoes, you're buying status, belonging, and escape from insecurity they planted. Ads don't say this product is useful, they say you're incomplete without it. And guess what? Your brain bites. Every time. Politicians do the same thing. They stir fear, frustration, tribal loyalty, then sell you the solution. But they're not solving real problems. They're manufacturing emotional drives to keep you clicking, watching, voting, obeying. And social media? That's the big one. These apps are basically digital slot machines, drip feeding you likes, drama, outrage. They poke your deepest drives, the need for validation, connection, control. But you're not connecting. You're consuming. You're not empowered. You're hooked. Here's the punchline. The system doesn't just know what you want, it tells you what to want. Then it punishes you for not chasing it. That's not freedom. That's psychological puppetry. But once you see the strings, you can start cutting them. You can stop being a puppet and start becoming a player. And in the next section, we're gonna flip this script even harder. Because if power structures can create drives, so can you. Let's talk about hacking your own desires. Turn your drives into weapons. Here's the twist. Your drives aren't the enemy. They're not weaknesses to be suppressed or distractions to be shamed. They're fuel, raw energy. And like any fuel, they're dangerous in the wrong hands, but unstoppable in yours, if you know how to use them. You feel envy? Good. That's showing you what you really want. You feel anger? Perfect. That's the signal something vital is being threatened. Fear? That's just your brain yelling, "Hey, pay attention, this matters." You've been told to suppress those emotions, to calm down, to stay balanced. But let's be real, balance is overrated if it keeps you from breaking through. The key is this: don't act on every drive impulsively. Act on them intentionally. Want power? Channel that into building a business, a movement, a body of work. Want validation? Use it to push your craft until it speaks so loud no one can ignore it. Want control? Then control yourself. That's where real dominance starts. This isn't about being cold. It's about being calculated. Every strong-willed person you admire, they didn't kill their drives. They tamed them, trained them like wolves, unleashed them when it mattered. You can do the same. You just have to stop reacting and start directing. Coming up, we'll talk about how to build an internal code. One that keeps your drives loyal, your goals sharp, and your power yours. You are not a machine. You're not a machine, so stop living like one. Clark Hull saw you as a system of inputs and outputs. Tension, inaction, out. Hunger, thirst, sex, fear. Pull the lever, get the reward. Rinse, repeat, predictable, contained, efficient. But you're not here to be efficient. You're here to become. Nietzsche would laugh at the idea that humans are just pressure valves looking for release. He gave us the Übermensch, the one who transcends this mechanical loop. Not because they have fewer drives, but because they use them to carve out a life of meaning. A creator, a rule breaker. Someone who doesn't just reduce tension, but builds mountains out of it. Machines don't rebel, they don't imagine. They don't stand at the edge of chaos and say, "I'll go further." But you can. You can look your fears in the eye and say, "Good, now I know where the edge is." You can turn suffering into strength, discipline into dominance, confusion into clarity. Hull gave us a map of human behavior, but Nietzsche gave us the fire to burn that map when it keeps us small. So the next time you're told to calm down, to stay stable, to keep everything in balance, ask yourself, am I trying to function or am I trying to become something more? Because machines are made to perform, but you were born to transform. And next, we'll explore what it actually looks like to live outside the cage and why most people are terrified to do it. Rethink self-control. It's not restraint. You've been lied to about discipline. They told you self-control means holding back, bottling it up, white-knuckling your way through temptation like a monk in a cage. But real discipline? It's not about saying no, it's about saying yes to something bigger. Look, desire isn't the problem. It's the direction, it's pointing. Think of it like a river. If you dam it up, you get pressure, turbulence. Eventually something breaks. But if you channel that flow, if you carve a path, it becomes energy, movement, power. You want comfort? Great. Make that comfort the result of your long-term work, not the escape from it. You want pleasure? Cool. Use that as fuel for your craft, your grind, your goals. Don't kill the hunger, feed it something worthy. Nietzsche never said, "Stop desiring." He said, "Create values. Will something into being. Let your desires serve your vision, not your momentary urges." That's not restraint. That's ownership. You're not weak because you want more. You're weak when you chase crumbs instead of building the damn bakery. So don't aim to suppress your drives. Aim to command them. Turn your craving for chaos into focused creation. Turn your need for validation into undeniable value. Turn your pain into presence. That's real discipline. Not being still, but choosing where to go. And in the final section, we're gonna bring it all home. One last question. What kind of human do you want to become? One who reacts or one who redefines? Escape the lab, design your life. The rat maze is real. You've been running through it day after day, just pressing the lever, looking for that next piece of cheese. You think it's freedom. You think it's progress. But deep down, you know it's not. It's a cage. The truth is, the maze was never built for you. It was built for control, for keeping you in line, for making you think the only way to survive is to react, never question, never rebel, just follow the script. But I'm telling you right now, you don't have to play that game anymore. The real power lies in the ability to step out, to redefine the rules, to look at your drives not as chains, but as tools. Tools you can shape, redirect, and build something greater than you ever imagined. You are not a lab rat, you're an architect. You don't just respond to instincts, you design them. You don't let life happen to you, you create the life you want to live. So stop asking, what can I do to feel better right now? Instead, ask, what do I need to become to create the life I truly desire? Because the moment you take control of your drives, you escape the maze. The question now is, will you keep running? Or will you finally step up and build your own path? Your own purpose? Your own damn legacy? It's your turn to design. It's time to live consciously. It's time to escape the lab.